Wait. Talk again?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. That's it. We just
Okay.
needed to mute the mute. Okay,
Okay. All right. So, how you guys doing?
we're doing
We're
good. How about
great.
you?
Good, good. Pretty exciting stuff I've been working on. Let me share a screen so we can go one by one
Great.
and go from there. Let's see. Okay, so which one would you like to start with the characters first?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Okay. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and share the screen and we can go from there. Okay. Screen. Okay. Actually, let me also share sound because well, actually I think we don't have much. Let me just turn off my ringer here so don't get disturbed. Okay, fantastic. Wait, cancel. Don't want to quit that. Okay, share screen. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yep, we
right
see
now we're
Zoom meeting.
Yep.
seeing your Zoom meeting and stuff. We don't see your images, but we see your
Oh wait,
desktop.
oh just the desktop, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay, just an empty desktop. Great. Okay, that's what we want. Alrighty, so let me just quickly start my Photoshop so we can tweak the hair real quick because we you guys wanted to change the color, correct?
Right
Yeah.
now, Chris, just so you know, we're seeing your desktop with the images of your file and the Zoom call
Okay, so
prompt.
you're seeing the wrong screen.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
let me
you
get
got
that.
you got a lot of production screens going on there, I guess.
Yeah, no problem. So let me just this is weird. Okay, so I could have sworn you should you sure this is inverted. This is weird because what I'm seeing on my screen was what I wanted to see you, but you guys are seeing the opposite screen. So
The same thing happened last week, Chris. You did something different
okay,
because
can you
you
see?
Right
so
now we're
right
seeing 10 file folders. Just a list of them. Little row of them.
this is what we're seeing right now.
No, that is okay. Again, that's the wrong one. What in the world? Okay, well, screen should be. You're not seeing my Photoshop open?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
What about now?
I'm going to show you.
Can you
Okay,
see?
now we see here's what we see.
You see the little tiger picture in there somewhere?
Yes, I do. Yes, we do.
Okay, great. That's what okay, this is
Okay,
Photoshop. Great. All
perfect.
right. Okay, so let's go first to the image with the grandson. Okay. All right, you can see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Granny and grandson together. Okay.
Cute.
All right,
Yes.
so you guys wanted to change the color, right?
So we
I,
wouldn't match your dress. Yeah.
if you can
Right,
make
right.
it lighter blue, Chris.
So okay, so let's go ahead and uh um let's see. Eh, Make Gemma's light blue. Let's see. Okay, so is this the color you want?
That's a cute little color.
No,
Yeah, it is.
never mind the shape. Is that
Yeah.
the color you like?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Great.
So we'll keep that color and I'll pass it on to this, and it
Great.
will look
Okay.
just like that. Okay.
Great.
So if you're happy with that color, you sure you're happy with that color?
Yep.
Yeah,
Great.
it's not too bright.
Nope.
No? Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and use that color, the light version of that color.
You got it.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's for that. Now let's go to young granny and do the same thing. And let's see. Younger granny there. Okay. I'm just
While you're doing that, Chris, I'm just going to mention something to Marilyn.
sure
Marilyn,
go for it.
when I was thinking over the weekend, looking at the different
Okay,
emails that we had received from Chris, I'm thinking, and I love it. It's got a Jetson feel to it. Remember the Jetsons?
Oh, yes.
I think we're right in that sweet spot.
Jetsons. Okay, so Chris, this needs to be a brighter pink, so she pops a little bit. With same with her bow.
Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and we could definitely tweak that. So let me just grab that, make sure that go here to the selected pink here. This is okay. It's not looking like pink to me. Oh, I know why. Okay. My bad. Let me duplicate the layer. All right, now we should be able to pick that color. All right, and you said brighter?
Yeah, so she doesn't look like it's an old dress, that it looks like it's a new,
Okay,
younger, brighter dress, so that.
Sure. Okay, let's see.
Now, when you mentioned the boy being kind of neon and bright, I think we do have to be careful of that, Chris, that these kids don't become a neon color where everything
It
else
might be a little too bright. I'll balance
muted.
it. I
Yeah,
will balance it a little bit more. Don't worry about it. So, but yeah, so just we know more or less we're in the ballpark. Okay,
right.
so let's see this. If you like this version, is that better?
That's better. She looks happier. Yeah.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
about her bows?
All right. So, yep, we can do the
Right
bows
now
as
they
well.
match the rug. So
Right,
now
right.
they're
Yep.
better. They're
No
better.
problem. Sure. There you go.
There we go.
Oh,
Like
she's a
that?
cutie pie.
Cute. Done.
Yeah. All right. Awesome.
And hold on just a sec, Marilyn,
Sure.
for her hair, because
Oh yeah.
it's a lot less yellow than it used to be. Are you comfy with that?
Well, the question is, does she look like little grandma? Or should we make it a little more whitish, a little more platinum blonde? Is that an easier connection? We're just trying to be connected. If I was a deaf kid looking at this, do I really know she's
I
little
think with the
grandma?
glasses,
Yeah, the glasses kind of do it. I think
yeah,
Yeah.
the other thing, Chris, is that her her skin seems to be the same tone as the wall. I just want to make sure that we're not looking at a palette where we only have 10 colors to choose
oh
from.
yeah, don't worry about it. We can tweak the walls as well. I'll have all of that separated.
Or her
So
skin or her hands or her face, so and same thing with the little blue boy. I mean, I think Lou is right about the vintage nature of this. This definitely looks like a 1950s cartoon.
yes, yeah, of course. That's what I thought we
But
were
so we have
targeting
to
that,
be
right?
comfortable with that.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I would change all the colors, and we don't want to
Mm,
do that and make
No.
them all brighter and
no.
more cartoon-like. And I think this is so charming, Chris. What you've given us is a charming world.
Hmm.
So, but keep in mind that you can play off of that world. If something needs to be brighter, a la the elves or Santa, see, that already is brighter and more fun to look at for me when he's in that light blue color than in the
Uh-huh.
muted orange or the muted teal. So
Okay, we
just
can
think about
fully.
that as you're looking at colors and making choices, Chris, because
Mhm.
go ahead and make those choices relative to the characters kind of popping away from the background with a little more vibrance.
Sure. I mean, again, we can totally tweak that.
Great,
Um, and we can rebalance it afterwards because I'm doing everything in layers.
great.
Hmm.
And I will show you the stuff that I've done for the background itself. So yeah, don't worry about that. That's all about balancing and compositing. So we can make the whole image once we have all the elements approved. make it pop and be all
Great.
cohesive and and cheery.
So a small note might be the lights on the tree, which look like pasted round
Yeah,
circles.
yeah, though, yeah,
They should
that's
be shiny and sparkly. So
this was a very early background.
great.
Let me show you more where we're hitting towards the background part of it.
But
So
let's stick to the characters for now. We'll go to
yeah,
background
Yeah,
after.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So let's do that first, and then let me go ahead and save this as my next version. So five, okay. Okay, so this is gonna be our master from now on. So you're
Great.
happy with that pink color, right?
Cute. Really cute.
Really cute.
Okay. All right, fantastic. So she is done. I will go ahead and actually let me just do a quick see if I can do a very quick pick of the color here and go ahead and transfer it over to this guy here real quick. Get layer. And let's see if we can go ahead and just,
Make him blue.
there you go. So now,
Cutie.
Yeah.
so how about that? You like that?
Without the
Oh.
green, yeah.
Yeah. We'll take the green out and I'll clean
Or
the
you could
lines
do his
afterwards.
cuffs if you think he's cuter, Chris, with colored cuffs and a colored
Yeah,
collar.
we could do a different shade of this blue if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah,
kind of like we had it over here, like that.
Yeah, like a little darker
Yeah.
blue.
And
Yeah.
yeah. So we could do that and just give it a little accent to it. So yeah, I'll do
And
that. No
Okay.
and
problem.
we should see his feet and not have them blue so that it's not a onesie.
Yeah. Yeah, his
Oh,
feet are
gotcha. Oh, you want to see kind of like that?
yeah,
Yeah.
his little
Yeah.
bare feet.
Okay, I'll make sure to do that. That's gonna take a little work, so it's gonna take some time. I don't want to hold you guys over here.
Or the thing is, whatever it is, the feet need to be a different color than the blue. He could be wearing some slippers, but they
Oh,
have to be
gotcha. Okay,
clearly slippers.
so I wouldn't worry too much because the grandson actually has it's gonna be more like this, all right? So okay,
Oh,
so if you want,
adorable.
I could do that instead. How about that? You like that? Oops.
Yeah,
Yep,
he's cute with his little feet. There's his little feet showing.
And you have your feet, and you have your hands, and you have the little
Oh,
accents.
cutie
Yeah.
pie.
All
Absolutely.
right. So
Yep.
we'll save this one as the master then, and I'll copy on the style sheet the rest. So
Yep.
so save as grandson and the school B02. All righty then. Okay. So we got the
Cutie.
grandson, the young granny. Then we have, of course, we already have the granny. You guys like the wrinkles
He's
and
great.
stuff. So the little accents and stuff. So
Yep.
we got that. So now let's move on to Santa. So as you guys liked this version. Boom. Right?
Yeah.
That's the version you guys
Yeah.
liked? Okay.
Yep.
Without glasses.
What? Oh
Without
yeah,
glasses.
we can remove the glasses too. So we'll have a version with and one without glasses.
Great. So he can
So
put them on when he has to read the book, but then he can take them off when he's just Santa.
okay, no problem. Okay, we
And
can do that.
Chris, the way he puts them on, because he's magical, he can flip his fingers, they appear. Flip his fingers, they
Oh, there you go.
disappear.
See, with that
Really
glasses.
easy. Yep. Yep. Yep.
So we got that on the all covered up. So
Yep. You got it.
no
Amazing.
glasses with glasses. All right.
You got it.
Awesome. So we're good with this. We don't have to touch this.
Nope.
Okay. So close that. Close that. Next, let's go ahead and so those are the 4 characters.
Mhm.
We
Yep.
got those nailed. Now let's go for background stuff. So I have the granny's living room here, and what I'm going to show you is this is like the bare bones right now. But I also, what I did is I have a whole bunch of little knickknacks that we can add to the room in order, to make it feel, to add, here and there to make it lived in, right?
Great.
Yeah.
So we have
Great.
a tall lamp. We have some vases with some flowers. This is the ornament that is going to be with Santa. So I have a few versions. I don't know which one you like better. So let me know which one you want hanging from that tree over here, from the Christmas tree. See the lights are glowy here, so you guys were concerned that it looked too flat. So yeah, this is gonna be more like what we're shooting for, and then we'll have little ornaments hanging from the tree, like this guy, or whatever, which one you like best. Obviously, there's no I will remove the chimney, so there we go. This
Yeah.
kind of guy, or we can have him stand, sitting like this. So tell me which one you want Granny to point at when she's in the story. Which one you like?
Well, I like the little ones better than the giant one sitting on top. That's
This
cute.
one?
And so is the other one, the other little one. That one is cute too.
Oh,
That
but
one,
this one,
we
yeah,
can get rid of that one.
yeah. Okay, so we'll go for this version's tiny one, on sitting on the roof.
Well, so let's talk about the gag. So if the gag is that he's gonna jump up and disappear down the chimney, and the chimney will poof with little sparkles at the very end of this. So
Oh,
no,
but the script said that there was no chimney.
there is no chimney, but at the very end, when she goes back to the little ornament, I'm talking about after the song. It's just the little ornament. If this little ornament animates, if we want to ever use this little ornament again, then I think that little ornament is cute because you can put it, go ahead and put
So the
chimney on
same
it.
ornament, there
Same
something
ornament would suddenly a little chimney would appear or disappear. He's probably too big. I think the little guy
well,
is
okay,
cute.
don't worry about the scale right now. So
Okay. Yeah.
basically we'll have an appear and disappear chimney, and then we'll have the smaller Santa jumping there, right?
Yeah, maybe, Chris, but I think the opportunity to pick that little Santa on that rooftop, knowing there's space for a chimney, whether it grows by itself, gets maybe a little taller. I would think if we're going to use a chimney, we'd probably start and we'd build it up, just past the roof line. Put your little chimney in there again, Chris.
Yeah, sure. Wrong side. I have so many versions. Okay, so you're saying you want me to push this back?
I think if it was lower and farther left, just a little lower and farther left, and then went up just slightly over, so it clears from the round knob. It clears from the round hook.
So you want
It's
this more
separated a
separated. You
little
want
bit
a little
from the
more separated. Okay, no
yeah.
problem.
And
We can
and
do
then
that.
let's think because we have a lot to do at the end of this thing with the song and everything. But this little ornament, number one, it's a merch killer. So I think
Okay.
that little Santa on the
So
roof,
so so
which
what I'm going to do is I can make, if you like this style, I can shrink him and put him into here and remove this guy from there, and I can move the chimney more this so he's sitting on the roof, first without chimney and then with the chimney.
yeah, what's the other little one? Show us that other little one you
And then
have.
and then there's this other version. There's this version too.
What do you like, Lou? Do you like that little one
I,
or the
I I like that little one. I think the little one is
This guy.
endearing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll put this little guy in this house that has a chimney, and I'll remove this guy from there,
yeah. And
and
then
we'll move the chimney away. So there's a space, a bigger space. I might even make it a little wider so there's even more
yes,
space between them.
yes.
So, but
And
it
Chris,
has to be balanced because it has to be like in the middle of the roof of the house, the hanging point.
yeah,
So
you're right. And what can also happen is, some homes, the chimney is outside of the wall, on
yeah,
the
so I
side
was
of the
thinking
house.
maybe in the back of the house sticking up, if you want.
Yeah,
Yeah, it could do
yeah,
that.
Okay, all
yeah.
right, so we can do that, no problem. So I'll do that, and then afterwards, I'll show you a prototype.
Great.
Okay. So all right, cool. So those were the ornaments. I also have a whole bunch of ornaments as well for the tree somewhere over here. Seen some ornaments for the house, candles, the stockings and that,
Yeah.
and ornaments for the trees as well. Some candy
Great.
canes and
Yes.
mistletoe.
Yeah.
So I'll start placing that around the our empty room, to make it feel lit in and very
Yeah.
Christmassy like.
Great.
All right, cool.
You know,
So,
December. Oh, that December. Yeah, that's the good December. Great.
yep. What was that? Are we getting
No,
that?
there was one December that you left an E out in the, it was an
Oh,
early,
okay. Okay, cool.
that's spelled correctly. And, in that regard, maybe the white is whiter, so it pops a little bit off that wall. Because that's one of those things. If the calendar and the
Oh,
things,
you know what? There's a little bit of a yellowish tint right now on the image. I'm gonna
right.
remove that. So wait until I do the color correction before we start doing other corrections.
Great, perfect. So the
Okay?
star isn't the same color as the wall.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
these little things pop away
Sure.
from the background.
Yep.
Great.
So,
No
Chris,
problem.
just so that we have the same vocabulary as you, am I understanding that this is an unlit, balanced type of show, right? Right now, you haven't done the adjustment for the lighting and all that stuff, right?
Right. There is no real lighting because everything is
But
2D, so there's no
yeah,
directionality. But
but still,
again, this is a little bit fake directionality, and we
yep,
can pick, is the main source coming from the right or is coming from the left?
got it.
So see right now the shading for the spheres, they're coming diagonally down. For the
Yep,
candles, they are coming from the left. The light's coming from the
yep,
left. So all the shadows are coming, are on the right. But I can flip that, so we can play around with
you
that.
got it.
So it could be like also if we put something in here, on this side of the wall, for example, and there is a lamp over here, we can also flip this around so the candy cane looks like it's lit from this side because the lamp is here, so the light hits that way. But also we can have the Christmas tree because the lamp is this way is being light on the opposite side, so I can flip it. So it
Yep,
looks like the source is coming from the center of the room. So don't worry about that. That we can balance all that for the lighting pass. Right now, I'm more concerned about the layout of the room because we have to think about first. Granny is going to be walking from the chair all the way here. So I was thinking having the chair maybe a little closer to the window so that the path is not so long that she needs to walk so far away. And then we'll be closer to the calendar so the kid could be pointing more towards the calendar
yep,
easily so we can see it and we can see the window behind Granny with the snow coming down, which would be a nice cinematic shot. So
Great.
we'll play with the layout, once I get all the little props and stuff, added to the room. But I just wanted to show you the style we're going for and the
Great.
knickknacks. The stuff, the furniture also. We got some furniture as well, for the room. So we got some cabinets, a nice little
cool,
couch, coffee table, so all that kind of cool stuff in there. Um,
amazing.
so I'll be doing all that next. That's part of this week's work. And now let's go ahead and move on to the Santa's mailroom.
Great.
Okay. So go ahead and tell me if you like this. Do you like this version or this version?
Well, if those
So
elves,
this one or this one? This one has a more like squarish kind of door. This one has a more elvish kind of door. So it's more
Yeah,
rounded at the top. So, but again, we also need to talk about the little helpers because
yeah,
I
we
was
will.
looking at the template you gave me, and it was kind of weird the mix up that you gave me because it was an Asian with curly white hair, and I was kind of like, curly white hair for Asian doesn't quite fit. And then there was a dark skinned girl with red hair
Yeah,
and
that could
long.
happen. That
we're
could
So
gonna
happen.
we're gonna settle all that today.
so
We're gonna
so
agree
so
on all this.
so I did a few like a little bit of a run trial of different versions we could probably use. Again, don't worry about the tinting part. So I have like all different races and stuff, different heights and stuff. So you know, we can go ahead and pick which one you like, and we can go from there, and then we can like refine it from these points. So,
Got
but
it.
this is later. Let's talk about Santa's
Okay,
room
yeah,
first.
let's go back to the mailroom. So, um, Marilyn, when you look at both, do we, because what I like about this first, the first one,
Yeah.
so the other
This
one,
one? Oh, the other one. Okay,
the next
the
one,
square one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the square one, I think it's got a bit more mystery just because there's no lighting point in the back of that elf
Right.
right there.
Yeah, he's the
Um,
star. He's the star of this.
yeah, yeah,
I think, yeah, I like this one too. Chris, I
So,
think this
so
one's good. He's
Shadwell,
nice and big.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I
Fine.
think the organized laying out of the letters bumps me a little bit because I'm not sure that there wouldn't be a messy pile, maybe even a tiny mailbag of that's open that's spilled on the desk. So he rather than laying them out like a school assignment, you know, that he's that organized. I
Okay.
think the mess of this, so I would probably put a little elf
Well,
sitting on top of a little mailbag down here, or maybe leaning on it and the mailbag has spilled and all the stuff is just
okay. How
all
about if
out
I
on the
put
desk.
one? I'll put one on top of the desk here that's open, and it's spilled this way.
yep,
This, you
Yeah,
know.
spilled out
So
and it's
yep,
just spilled. So
yeah, I tumbled over and spilled, and I'll remove these guys being so organized. Maybe I'll keep a few on this side, but then this will be open, and then all the letters here will be like spilled, you know,
yeah,
on this side.
yeah.
yep,
So it's messy. So it's
Okay.
like he can't possibly get through all this. And I think then when we talk about the elves and who they are and what they do, I think the scampering nature of them, they would sit on top of a mailbag. They would, they would hug it. They would perch themselves. One would maybe be hanging off the door frame to get a better look of him. So they're very athletic. They're very active. They're never sedentary. So
Okay.
so rather than background players that just fill space, I think they, in their characterization and their culture, which we'll talk about in a minute, not to go too deep into them, but I think we need to land on these 9 little elves very clearly so you don't have any confusion about what you're drawing. Um, but I think like this one that's looking with his hands like this, oh, what's in that letter? And the one like this is
Uh-huh.
cute. And the other one, I'm not sure he would wave unless he's interrupting him, so probably
No,
not.
no, these are just temporary
Yeah,
ones.
but I mean,
I just
you
want to,
get the
yeah.
you get the direction, Chris. It's
Mm-hmm.
they're
Oops.
involved in
Yeah.
it. They are spellbound, like one little elf
Mm-hmm.
sitting like this, lying on his tummy. Just read it, Santa. I can't wait for this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's another one like this, lying asleep on a mailbag. So they all have personalities that are fun. And I think this background could really be fun for kids just to glance at it because we're
Mm-hmm.
here for a bit. We're here
Okay.
for Santa got
Yeah, right.
hundreds
He's
of
reading the
letters that
letter,
year.
then he calls them over, right? And
Yeah,
then he tells them about, we got to do something about this. And then, it's like get to it afterwards, and they just run through the door and disappear,
yeah,
right?
and Chris, this is definitely you nailed it. That's where Santa, our Santa, has glasses because he's reading.
yeah.
Right,
So
Perfect.
that's
right.
the Santa with glasses version that goes in
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. So yeah, make sure I have all the wrinkles and stuff, all the details will be there. So,
So just
okay.
to stay on this for a second, Chris, so I understand, in this little page of dialogue, we sense, I'm assuming that we're starting tight, if you will, talking television now, on
Mm-hmm.
Santa. Santa got hundreds of letters that year, but one special note, he opens it up, right? He
Mm-hmm.
opens the letter,
Right.
unfolds it,
Yep.
made his smile disappear, and his
Mm-hmm.
face changes like
Yep.
this. And then we go to the letter, the inside of the letter, we see the letter.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dear Santa, it said, in my house, in my town. And then he reads the
Yeah.
next line and
We'll
she
have an over the shoulder shot,
over the
for
shoulder
that.
shot.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
calls the elves around.
Mm-hmm.
All the elves scamper
Yeah.
in, maybe push
Yeah.
over a mailbag, again, and lean on it, or jump on top of a mail sack, or even one is kind of crunched under
Yeah.
it.
We could
So
have them
they're all there.
turn
And he
around.
says,
Yeah.
we got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all not. And then that's the end of that scene. So we're
Mm-hmm.
together on that. Great.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No
Okay.
worries. Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry about camera shots yet. I just wanted to get a
It's
feel that
cute.
if it feels right for you guys. So, all
Yes.
Yep.
right. So we'll do the mail room. I'll make sure that there's a spilled bag here of mail. I'll take away the neatness here, and I'll make sure that these are like piles of letters, but not stacked. Okay.
Yes.
So it's messy. That's what you want.
Yeah.
And when obviously it's not going to read Dear Santa in the back of the letter, so don't worry about that. This is just temporary for now.
But to
Uh,
your point about the curved thing, I don't think Santa would have a 4x8 door frame. I think he
yeah,
would.
he wouldn't be able to fit there anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. He
Unless
would
he
have to
uses
have a
magic.
curved door.
Unless he uses his magic, right?
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
okay, we're all good. All right, so that's that for this. That's the mail room.
Yep.
Next, I want to show you if a version that I have for the workshop, and tell me if you like this.
So
I know
that's when they're
I
working.
have one too many elves here. Sorry, but what I was thinking, you know what? Maybe have the tables like in a line, left and right, so he can walk down the middle and look at the different things.
The elves went to work and came up with a fix. So I don't think we need Santa in that first shot because he
Oh no
arrived.
no no no! This is
Yeah.
good. Again, we can remove them. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
I just want the layout for the workshop.
So the workshop is all about only doing the book. So they are, when you say the elves went to work, because that's when we go to the workshop and came up with a
Right.
fix, a magical book
Mm-hmm.
full of secrets and tricks. They pasted, they stenciled, they wanted da da da. So they're not
Right.
making toys. They're
Right.
making
Right. Yeah,
a
I
book,
understand that part. Yes. Don't worry about
cutting
that.
paper, and I think
Mm-hmm.
the again, for me, it's too organized, Chris. One of them is on their back with their legs like this, lying like
Okay.
this, cutting a piece of paper around. Another one is on his stomach, drawing a blueprint with a big giant crayon that's too big for him. So there's separate so the kids, if I'm a child and I'm watching this, I can say, look at they're pasting and you can even pop light on them. You can they colored and pasted, they stenciled and putted, they
Mm-hmm.
something and something. So it's just elves at work. The background of the workshop is less important than their little jobs. I think they do
Mm-hmm.
have an environment. So the environment is fine. You could make it you could even put some holly on top and some hammers and things on the wall, but it's about the elves having little workstations where they're
Yeah.
individually
Okay.
printing press and cutting paper and big thing of glue squirt, and the glue is half on the floor and half on the paper. So they're not very good little elves, but
Mm-hmm.
they're trying their best. So the scissors are big, the glue thing is big, they're little, big
Mm-hmm.
crayon. So
Okay.
because right now these are people size with small toys, and we need to reverse that. The elves are small, the stuff they hold and work with is bigger than them, and they work kind of individually. You could put two elves together if you wanted to squeeze a book cover together. They could be sitting back to back, pushing in, with their legs like kids do when they're on a playground and then they
O-
want to knock each other over. They sit back to back with their legs
Okay.
here.
So scale wise, you're picturing them to be half the size of these guys.
Well, because you want at least all in the story, you want all those little things they're doing. I think there are 8 rhymes. They
Mm-hmm.
squiggled, they glued,
Right.
they pasted and scissored, they dump and they something. I think there are more than that. And we won't particularly count them, but I think we have to at least create 9 little elves who are in different shapes and sizes
Mm-hmm.
on their back, legs in the air, pushing down, maybe one on somebody's shoulders because they're trying to stretch the book spine. Making a book is what they're doing. They're making a magical book. So all the things that are involved in that, glue, paper,
Mm-hmm.
design, that's what they're doing. And
Okay.
I think once we decide what these little elves look like, it's as important as what they're doing as what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
And Chris, if you go back to the room, the workroom,
Sure.
so from that perspective, Marilyn, what Chris was asking us is if you look at the tables right now, think of the
yeah,
tables as, the center of the attention of one of them or two of them together. Okay. The fact that the tables are set up that way right now is good, meaning we don't want them in rows. That's not what we want. Right now, you've got two bigger tables, you've got four that are a bit arched, and then you've got two more in the back.
Hmm.
That looks good from a dispersion standpoint.
Okay, so it's just spread them out more throughout the floor.
Yeah, and you may need four tables because a couple elves are on the floor.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're
All
not,
right.
it's not a school of elves. This is a mad
Right.
cat. In fact, if the workshop had a train track over the top of it, so it's more fun than this. This looks a little Macy's-like. It doesn't look to me like Santa's workshop, which has elevators and kites hanging and bicycles that are upside down and pogo sticks. It's toys. It's
Hmm.
toys in the back. Less is better because this looks organized. The desks look organized. They're the same size. There'd be a desk here, there'd be a barrel here, there'd be another desk in front, maybe with three little elves, maybe one chair in the room, but most of the time
Hmm.
they're sitting on the desk or they're sitting on the floor or they're under the desk with their glue sticks.
Okay.
There's one with paint. That paint is spilling, and their big giant brush bigger than my head, painting something. We're curious about what they're doing. Elves went to
Hmm.
work and came up with a fix, which is after we say they're stenciling, they're pasting, so we're not sure what they're
Hmm.
making. They're making Santa something,
Hmm.
but it's not toys. It is a book.
Hmm. Right. Right.
We want to
Yes.
foreshadow the book,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
want to make sure that we're using the rhymes that are in our scheme.
Right.
I would
Right.
say this is probably a do-over. I would say this is a more whimsical, madcap, funny, disorganized workshop of elves having fun, doing stuff that is supposedly somehow going to come up with
Do you
this.
have, does the book have an image of that already?
It's Santa's magical book. No, we never had an image. It
Okay.
could just have a big S on it, because I think words on the book, they came up with a fix, a magical book full of secrets and tricks. So if that's all we refer to the book, it could either have an S, it could have a hat of
Because I
Santa.
need to make the prop as well. I was going to ask you what do you want to see
Yeah,
on that
he's
book?
got a book. He's got a book, and that little book should probably look like a little dictionary of some kind, little funny little book with lots of pages, because we refer to it later as he looked on page 372.
Uh,
In our world, Santa has 1,000 ways to get in, and the elves have somehow magically.
okay.
So one little elf would just have sheets of paper flying out because he's writing all these ways to get in under the floor, pop through the
I
window.
see Lewis trying to show me the book, but for me it's a really tiny image, so I can't see it.
Yeah,
So could could
if
I get a copy of that book?
of course, of course. But what I want to be really careful of, um, first of all, we could never see, and I understand why. We could never see the faces of the elf or very, very little. Because that's the tough part to do. I'll Chris, if you send me your home address, if it's different than what you sent me on your bill, I
Oh no,
can
no,
I
it's the
can
same
forward
one.
you a copy. Okay, so I'll send you a copy. I'll get you a copy
Great,
over.
great,
Okay,
great.
and but I want it just for inspiration. I don't want
Yeah,
you
yeah, gotcha, gotcha. I
to
totally get
to
it. Yes, I
because
got
this
it.
is it's a different thing. So
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you'll
for
see that
sure.
the artist who did the book, Chris, had the same issues that you have, which is he opted not to do any faces. And I pushed him to do at least one little face with a little turned up nose and a thing. But his option was not to do a lot of faces. We see sidearms, we see little elf drawing, we always see
Hmm.
that, and we can do that. We
Hmm.
don't have to see all the faces. So we're not counting, we're counting nine elves. We don't have to have nine elves. We could have seven elves.
Uh-huh.
And they can all do, but I think in this picture, Chris, I think that's the vision of the workshop, which is a madcap, fun, and if you look up in every Christmas book ever made, everybody's got what's the North Pole workshop look like? Some people have
yep.
train tracks and
Right,
elevators,
yeah. So
trampolines.
mhm,
The one elf isn't
mhm.
working at all. He's jumping up and down and playing, on a pogo stick.
Right.
It has magic and fun attached to it, and This is the elf face. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm doing this. I'm at work.
uh-huh.
Um,
Okay.
I'm wondering what I should do.
Hmm.
It's we catch the elves in moments of action
Hmm.
because they all look very the same smile. They're all at peace, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, no, again, this is just
yeah. But I'm just
just
trying
to
to get
get
in
an
your head
idea.
what you're
Gotcha.
creating. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, no problem. All right, I got a better idea now
Okay.
what you want. So,
And
okay.
and what I'll do in order to be even faster, Chris, I'll scan the book and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that'd
You'll
be
get it,
great.
you'll get
Yeah.
it digital.
Yeah,
So
yeah, actually, yeah, that will work for me too. You don't even have to
yep,
get the book then. Yeah,
yep,
if you do that, yeah,
yep,
that'd be
I will.
great. Okay, sounds good. Okay, cool. So now I got a better idea. So this is a redo. We'll come back with a different
Well,
version.
the bones are there. I mean, the bones are there. We're just adding.
Okay, no worries. Got it. All right, sounds good. So let's go ahead and concentrate now on the elves. And also, can you please send me this recording that we're doing?
Yep.
So that way I don't have to waste time writing notes and
Mm-hmm.
pause things. So let's go ahead and talk about the elves. Tell me which ones you like. Which if you like a certain version, we'll isolate that version, and we'll keep adding more and more in Photoshop, and do selections of which one you like, which one you don't like, and we'll go from there, and then we'll compile them, and hopefully we'll have enough elves to finish this up. Okay, let's close that one and close that. Okay, so do you like any of these guys right now? And let me just.
The only one that I think might be workable is the little guy with the white bangs that are in that come down like this in little rows, the guy on the far left.
This guy?
Because if his hair was sticking out and his cap was, he looks disheveled. Elves always look a little bit disheveled. So he's cute, he's young, you know.
Okay,
Who he is, I'm not sure. He's got
sure.
all this. We talked about attaching things to their belt or their backpack. I love the little hammer guy because that little guy is the builder. He's the toy maker of
Ooh,
that little number three, that guy. So we only
yeah.
want one of him. He's the one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I don't think any of their faces match. I think so. Go back to that other thing you just showed us. You
sure.
showed us one with the eyes closed. The one on the far right,
This
he
one? Yeah.
works. Although because he's got number one black hair now and he's got little rainbow eyes, so he's cuter and different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Yeah, we were going for a more Oriental style for this guy.
well, what do
So
you
and
do?
an
We need to
Asian
go to
style.
an Asian elf and a little black elf, Lou?
Yeah, we do. I think we
Okay,
do.
then the little black elf are none of these guys. They're too old and too severe. The one with the little curly hair might work. That's a little afro elf. It's a
Yep.
girl.
Yeah, it's a girl. This one.
It
Yeah.
could be a little girl elf with the little
Mm-hmm.
um but again, when I look at all those eyes, they bother me, all those big round eyes, because they all the same face. And none of the elves should have the same face because they're not the same person. There's only two ways to go at this, Chris. One is to make them all the same and with the same face and just different colored suits, and they're just like you drew in the Santa mailroom. Those are all the same elves. We could do that and be out of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could create 7 or 8 little separate little people that are
Yeah,
all
but
little.
I don't know if we have the time to do
I
We
know.
that that's
every
That's the
that's
one.
question.
so Marilyn,
So,
this is where we're going for. They're gonna have. This is where when you look at the group there, the the difference comes in setting the hair differently, right? So that's where you get to have that different set of hair, that that different color of skin,
Body
and the
and
shape.
eyes, the
and and
bulging
and and
eyes
and and, and the
work.
and the bo- and the body shape, meaning tall or short or skinny or fat. this is how you get the different looks. But from a face perspective, Marilyn, we're kind of stuck in a like the movie The Matrix with all those agents and with the, you know, it's
Yeah,
like
we
the
can change
guy
the eyes a
in
little bit if you
See,
want.
I think she's, if she were even littler. So you imagine that they're talking, right? Because she would say, and sizes. She
Hmm.
would say that line. That's her only line.
Hmm.
Yep.
They come in this and this and sizes because she's,
Yep.
and the one whose shapes is fat. So his little tunic shows his tummy and
Hmm.
he's fat. And I see him
Yeah.
having red hair that, you
Hmm.
know, because he's from Sandlot, the film. He's that fat little boy that is too fat to play baseball, but he hits the home run. He's, you know, um,
Okay.
his
He's
socks
coming
maybe are
in.
down around his shoes. So, but see, all these guys, like those two guys in the back, are the same guy. One guy's black skin, one guy's white skin. That doesn't work. It's the same elf. So why would you draw it twice? So those all three of those guys in the back row are the same elf, but in different skin, but the same eyes. And so when I see the little tiny one with the little axe over her shoulder, the guy with the, not that guy, but the other guy with the funnier hair, the white hair that has, and then maybe the guy with the rainbow eyes who looks a little Japanese to me, uh, is cute. So I think if you look at creating 7 or 8 little faces that have, maybe there's one that's always got a tongue out. You know, there's one
Oh,
that's always that, and there's another
okay.
one that's winking at us. I don't know, but they're, so they're not the same face. Because if we do the same face, then I'd rather do one elf and replicate them 9 times. Because otherwise, I think we are between a rock and a hard place. We're neither red or blue. We're kind of trying to do something in the budget we have. And
Yeah.
that's what I think we're looking at. And that's what I'm fighting, Chris, is because I don't want this to look like we have a budget. I know we have a budget and we're, but this guy is so darn cute. But there's only one of him. He's the one. He's got the longest ears and he's got the cute hair and he's a hammer and he's got sparkles. He's great. But the little tiny one should be in,
So this one is totally, it does not look the same as this guy
yeah.
though.
No, no. So she works. She works, and so does, if you go to the other page,
Well,
there's
this one is a
another.
he, this one is a he, but there's a she version here. This
Yeah.
one's different too.
Yeah. So I think the either one of those little ones could work. Now, if she's blonde and she has, you know, yellow braids, then she's
Okay.
Sure.
different than black hair
Okay. Hold on
because
just a second, Marilyn. Just a second. In order for this to work, hold on, I need a piece of paper. And I just need for us, in order to help Chris achieve this, we have to go by elimination. Okay. So
So let's say that you say you like this one, but you want yellow hair on her.
yeah, yellow braids.
Yellow
okay.
braids. Okay, no
So
problem.
so let's call her for from now on, for just for now, let's call her elf number one. Okay, just for us to be clear on communication, Marilyn. It's not her name, but I just need it to be clear for us to be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve.
Right.
Okay, so
All
let's
right.
call her elf number one. So elf
Mm-hmm.
number one, Marilyn. So the this is the right body size, the right shape. We want her hair to be, do you want it red? Do you want her to be a redhead? Do you want her to be a blonde?
No, I think she should have blonde pigtails, and I think obviously she's a different color than green. And she could have jingle bells on her hat. So she's, if she's Jingles or if she's Bows, if she's, they have little jobs to do. So they would decorate their hats with little bows, or, and one of them would have paint splatters on their little thing because they'd have a paint bucket with them. So in the back, when they arrive in the mailroom, paint or splatter or
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
is the same shape, but he has different hair. You know that little hat, Chris, that you made that looked like this? Show you that little hat. Remember that little hat you drew? It had, it was like a
Like a
little dunce
crown?
cap. It had a little dunce cap kind of, and it had little points on it. You sent that a while back. It was a different
Mm,
elf hat than these hats. Incidentally, these hats have to have jingle bells on the end. Um, so we can
sure.
have
So
those little.
sure, that's not a problem. We can just
But I
go.
think we could have one little elf, the fat one, who had that hat and a short tunic with red hair sticking out. You don't have him drawn yet, but he could be his own little elf, Fatso. So we call him elf number two. He doesn't exist yet. We've got the magic elf, the hammer elf. We could call him elf number three if we're. Now, this little one has to be really small. So there's another little one that you drew, Chris. Does she look younger than this one?
Uh,
There's another in the second drawing you showed us. You did two
so
small kids.
so okay, so this one has these. There's this one and this one that are
Yep.
small, and there's another one that we can make it smaller, but if you want, then there is this one that has this guy
Yeah,
over
who's
here.
little. So
And then we have
yeah,
this version, and okay, that's it.
okay.
So
So we need a little elf. So frankly, the little elf that you've got with the curly shoes, either that little elf
this
or the
guy,
other little girl elf, that looks about 3 years old to me. The little girl elf looks about 5 years old. Frankly, the cutest
we can do this, we can shrink it in scale, so don't worry about the actual
yeah.
height. So, but if you like the shapes and you like the face, then I can go ahead and just get her out of here and put her next to next to her by herself, and
Okay,
it will
then
be
let
the
me let
same
me tell you
height.
this. The not this little elf, because this little elf looks like she could be 8. If you made her bigger, she's a regular girl. The other little elf that you just showed me has fatter cheeks and she looks to be 3. Not that one, the other one.
No. I
You
understand.
get it.
So you want blonde hair on this one, right?
Yeah, and she can be taller because she's not a tiny little kid. The other one is the baby elf, and I think that baby elf is funny. The one with the fat
Okay.
cheeks.
Okay, you're talking
Okay,
about this
but
guy.
Yeah, that one.
okay. So hold on just a second, just for clarity, Marilyn. We just let's concentrate on let's go back to elf number one. Okay,
Okay.
elf number one. So we're saying blonde hair. We're saying you want her taller.
Taller, and she's ribbons. So she would have ribbons on her hat. Maybe her hat band is a big ribbon. She works in the wrapping department. She's an elf that has a job.
Okay.
So if and when she's in the workshop, then Chris, you can make her coloring or painting or doing something with ribbons. Maybe she's stretching little ribbons. But she's yeah, a little taller.
Well, if we
But
make it
she's good.
taller, then we're losing scale for the book, because you
Yeah.
want them small enough to look like the glue is a big cake of glue
Yeah,
and
so
that
she
kind of
doesn't have to
stuff.
be taller, right? She's
So
she's as big as she needs to be, right?
so scale wise, I will refrain right now trying to feel for it until we have objects, the props that they're gonna have to interact with,
Great.
because that will give him the sense of scale that we need. So so right now let's concentrate on the feel and the look of it of the character, and
Yep.
then after that we'll talk about how how you want it as far as um scale
Great.
when they're next to the props.
Great.
Okay.
Perfect.
So elf number one
So elf
is
number this will
ribbon.
be our elf number one, and you say you want a ribbon on the hair.
Well, we need yellow braids, and so she's from Sweden.
So
Let's call her from Sweden. She's yellow
is this
braids. She's got
braids?
yellow bangs. Yep. Yellow
So
braids.
okay,
And they hang down in front of her little arms. And so
yeah.
they're braids that are braided and
Well,
they're
I'd rather they don't interact with the arms because that could create some problems afterwards.
oh,
'Cause it will be
okay.
harder to animate.
Okay.
So if they stay behind the shoulders, that'd be much better.
Okay.
But just or
That's
they could
okay.
they could be like sticking to the side like that if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
So we could definitely do that. So she will be our elf number one right
And
now.
she
Yep.
probably have blue eyes, right? Because she's a blonde.
Okay, so you want blue eyes on her. Okay.
Um, and if she's that face, then that's the only face like that we're going to look at with the little pug nose and the
Hmm.
little smile and the pointy
Okay.
ears. blonde hair, different color outfit.
Oh
Um,
wait, different color outfit.
yeah, they're not all in green. They're all in different colors.
Okay. What do you have in mind? Because again, we
She
might
could
have
be, she could
we might
be
crash with the palettes and
yellow.
stuff.
The other one could be blue. The other one could be purple. The other one could be, yeah. So they're not all in green. At least in my view, they were all individual little elves. Like Paint had splatters of paint on him on his tunic. So maybe he'd have a
Mhm.
white tunic with splatters of purple and pink and red, and because he's a mess and he's got paint buckets. So in his little workshop moment, he's painting something. Now he gets paint on them. Because if they all have the same face and the same look, then they're just cookie cutter elves. That's what they are. And I think we need to do better than that. I think we
Okay.
need to create, and if we end up with seven, then we'd end up with seven. Or with six. If six is enough, then we do six in the workshop.
Okay.
We just do. So I think but what we don't want is the same face. We don't want the same color. We don't want like the three guys in the back all look.
So this would be one.
Yeah, he's good.
So this could be two.
Yeah.
This one over here. And
If they weren't all looking the same direction and their noses all weren't the same way, would that help? Because right now they're all looking that way and they all have noses that go that way. And if her nose went the other way and her smile was a little more crooked, would she look? I mean, I know you're going to animate them, so these are their frozen.
right, right. They're yeah, and they're not all gonna be smiling. They're all gonna be like in different
Right,
spaces. So
right.
So
so maybe that's throwing you off. I'm not sure because I kind of understand what you want, but at the same time I'm still not quite getting it.
I could draw them for you. I could sketch out what I think the shapes and sizes look like. There's the fat one with the tunic that comes up and his belly button shows and then his stockings are up,
So does that mean you see the stockings all the way up to his belly?
yeah, to his belly. And his tunic is too small for him. It's like Gus Gus. Have you ever seen the movie Cinderella? Well, in Cinderella, Disney's
Well,
Cinderella, he's a fat little mouse.
oh, okay,
And
I
they
know
try to
which one
put
you're talking about
they
now.
make Cinderella makes him a jacket and it
yeah.
doesn't fit him, but she puts it on anyway. And
Hmm.
he's too fat. So his little fat tummy sticks out, but the jacket is on him. Same thing with this guy. So when he says and shapes, he's fat. Read the
Uh-huh.
book, Santa, you'll know what to do. I mean, that could be the little blonde girl with very nice elocution. Read the book, Santa. And then the fat one goes, you'll know what to do. So all those little voices I sent you, which was just me, and we're going to record them in the studio this weekend,
Hmm.
those belong to these elves. That's why the elves are all different because the voices are different. Because right now, all those elves, when I look at your elves, Chris, they all speak the same language. They all have the same voice because they all have the same face. And these elves are different enough that they have different looks. So we need a little black elf.
Hmm.
That little black elf is cute. Um,
Which version in here?
that little black elf, but she has the bug eyes. Yeah, the
This
one down.
one?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, all
Now,
right. So let me just get her out of here and put it in the other image. Then I'll do some cleanup after. Don't worry about it. So we'll put her here.
and I think
So
the little white elf, the little white kid, on the far right of that last drawing is kind of cute. Not that
this.
drawing. Nope, the other drawing. The other picture. Oh, not that picture. Sorry.
Okay.
The
This
one with,
guy.
yeah, that guy. I like
This
the
guy.
hair because the hair is um now he's the one who could, if you drew another little hair, maybe his sideburns are coming up funny, or maybe he has two little side things are sticking out the back. He's got a bunch of white hair that is misbehaving, that he doesn't know how to comb. So it's kind of all in little strips. And maybe he's got his tongue out. I mean, maybe he's the one who's confused. So or maybe he's paint. He's got the buckets and he's got paint on his thing. But he's cute, he's different.
Okay.
That is the wrong baby. We're not, we're reinventing her. We
What
want to use the
baby?
fat-cheeked baby.
What? What?
No, this is the elf one. This is the one, Marilyn, with the blonde and taller. And this is Ribbons.
Oh, that's ribbons. Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay. So but this guy, Chris, this guy, if you want to cut him up and put him in there,
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now.
He's great.
Get that, that, get that.
okay. And if we go back to any one groups that you have, Chris. Okay, so in this group, so Marilyn, we took out the little curly haired black person. We in here we've got the smaller little, we're gonna call him Asian for now. The smaller little
Yeah,
Asian
the little
guy.
baby Asian one. The baby Asian one is cute.
Yep.
And
Okay.
the one in the middle, forget the bulby eyes, because if you do a black bulb girl with bulging eyes, then the next elf kid has to have different eyes. But that one in the middle is almost fatso. I mean, if you made him
This
fat,
guy?
yeah. If you made
Okay.
him fatter, he looks like he overeats.
Well,
That
no,
one
that
looks too old. That one looks like a man.
okay.
They have to look like kids. That's a man. That's a
Okay. All right. So you like this version?
yeah,
Okay.
but not. He needs to
But
have
not.
red hair and he needs to have different eyes. So maybe he's got, I don't know, what kind of different elf eyes you can do. And maybe maybe
Heavier?
that guy. That guy is what we're talking about
Yeah.
to kind of redo him and call him Fatso. We'll change
Okay.
his name, obviously, but so you make but he has to really be fatter. And he has to lean back a little bit because he's too fat. His
Okay.
tunic
All
may,
right. So I'll just make him heavier. No, got
yeah.
it.
And pull up his socks so he's different. And then the baby is even smaller. Um,
So yeah. So I'll clean this up. So
yeah,
just to
yeah,
get a better idea. So make him heavier
yeah.
and
Heavier and a baby and a black
yeah.
one. So we have a
And,
baby
and
Asian,
then
we have a
and then
black one, we have a Swedish one, a blonde with braids.
so deselect. Let me just
And
grab
we
the
have the toy
baby.
maker, the one with the hammer, who's cute. He's just the regular straight ahead elf. So what else do we have? I put one in there with Fed the Reindeer, which was kind of a corduroy elf, kind of like maybe he's got a little brown and white checkered tunic or something because he's feeding the reindeer. Um, Mischief, I think.
Okay. So we got one, two, three, four, five, six so
Six.
far.
We have six.
Okay.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
have a red head and we have a blonde. We could probably use another, and we have a white hair. And then when you're finishing drawing them, Chris, just keep your sense of humor going and make them funny. If they have something on their hat, if their hat is over one eye, whatever, it's too low, it's way
Okay.
back. So they're different. They dress themselves. Um, so
Do the descriptions you gave me are part of the rhyme?
the description I gave you
Yeah.
are part of what
Of the
I
book
wrote
description?
nine personalities. And the one I see ribbons, if we do the little baby bows, then they work together in the workshop. They're head of the wrapping department. The
Okay, so
Swedish one and the little Asian one are pals.
what
They're
okay,
both
so let's start with this. Which one is this what's this one called again?
toys.
So this
Squiggles.
one
His name is Squiggles. He's the head elf. He's Santa's head elf. So he should probably be in a red tunic, red and white, because he wants to be Santa when he grows up. So he is probably a red
okay.
Santa-like
let's hold on a second. Let's see. Squeeze. Okay. Um. Okay.
So
What?
you've got seven elves there. So you've got squiggles.
No. Yeah.
You
No.
got
Yeah.
six
I
elves.
Oh, you got one, two, three, four, five,
six. Yeah. Yeah.
six.
Six.
You got six so far. So
So.
let's
Yep.
talk about these elves, and then we can move on and do the rest of them. So let's talk about squiggles. So let's talk about the one with the yellows, that one right there. He's the head elf. He makes the toys. His hammer is great. Those little nails, which I can barely see, but they could be bright silver, and he could have a couple sticking out of his hat. Um, he could also have a saw if we needed a saw behind the hammer. So he is ready to build toys. Squiggles is the head elf. He's red and white. He wants to be Santa. He might have a little fur on his cap. So
Is
that's
that how
him.
you say it? Is that how you call them?
Well,
Squiggles?
Squiggles is the head elf.
Yep.
Is that
Yep,
correct?
that's
Okay.
correct.
All
He's the
right.
toy maker.
All right. So that's Squiggles. Okay. So which one would this be?
That
The
would be
blonde
ribbons.
hair?
That would be ribbons. And
Ribbons. Okay. All
and
right.
she's in
So
charge of the wrapping department. She wraps so she's got a roll of wrapping paper. She's got a roll of ribbons hooked to her belt. She's got ribbon around her thing. She's a little more organized. She's cute, but she's very feminine. Blonde hair. Could be
blue
curls,
eyes.
could be ringlets, or it could be pigtails. But it could be ringlets. So she appeals to the children that want to be Disney princesses. She is the pretty little blonde
Okay.
elf.
All right. So okay.
So you got the idea. Then we have the little black one. Okay, so she's cute. I'm not, is that a boy or a girl? I think we need
It's a
to,
girl.
it's
It's
a
a
girl.
girl.
Okay. So she could be Cinnamon, which means she works for Mrs. Claus and she's a baker, which works. She could have sugar and nutmeg and
Is that how you spell cinnamon? How do you spell cinnamon?
two ends.
Two N's, right? Yeah.
Two ends, and you're right.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Okay.
Okay, so
Oh,
she's a baker. She's a baker elf.
got it.
So she's dusty. She's got sugar and flour and a rolling
Okay.
pin. A rolling pin would work. A big whisk and a big spoon. Things that Mrs. Claus gives her in the kitchen.
Okay.
She's the baker. Okay, then this little guy over here. So if he might be mischief. If you make him funny and give him some a little more white hair, maybe his hair's sticking through his cap or something, he would be feeding the reindeer. Now the other thing is he could have antlers too, like the reindeer. So he really feeds the reindeer and he brings in with him reindeer food. So because I'm not sure that we're not going to be able to pepper that last song with some of these elves, but when we get pepper the elf, they bring their props. Their little props go with them. Elves always have stuff with them. Hammers, whisks, reindeer food, um,
He
ribbons,
could have,
bows.
Marilyn, he could have in his belt, he could have little antlers sticking out.
Yeah, little antlers
You,
sticking
you,
out
you, you,
and
you
some,
you don't need much other than
yeah,
he's
little
got some
antlers
antlers.
and maybe a little bag over his arm or something, that would say reindeer oats or
Try to think about using the belt as much as possible, Marilyn, so
great,
that the animation is easier.
great, great.
Yeah, yeah, we can't have them like carrying a lot of stuff because then you got to think about secondary motions and all that kind of stuff
Or
that
what they do, right?
we're not going to be able to have the time to animate all that, so it will make it look stiff when we do the
Yeah.
motions.
And again, they
So,
only currently, Chris, appear four times, which is, they appear on the mailbags.
mhm.
Then they appear in the workshop, which is their stuff can be next to them. A whisk could be on the floor, but she's doing something. I mean, they're all very busy doing their thing to make the book. So, and then they hand the book to Santa. There is a presentation
Mhm.
moment where they
Yeah.
all appear. Now they can appear sideways, they can appear stacked on each other's shoulders, which you'll see in the book that we did. That artist put them on top of
Mhm.
each other to be as tall as Santa because
Mhm.
they had to, or at least one of them had to sit on the other shoulders and hand him the book, and the others were all around his feet looking up. So again, the stuff in their belts, yes, but I don't know that they don't dance. to your question. So you're right. I mean, but I think for us, just to get in your head who you're drawing, who these little
Hmm.
people are. I like Mischief because he's got white hair. Cinnamon is a baker. Ribbons is a wrapping department, blonde. Squiggles is the head. So now so who else did I have? I had,
This is baby. You've got the baby Asian baby.
okay, the Asian baby she could be bows. So she could be bows. She could work with ribbons. So ribbons and bows are always together. You can put them together. You can put them together in the mailroom because they are in charge of the wrapping department. So bows toddles along after ribbons with bows. Bows on her hat, bows on her thing.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
she's cute, and let's go ahead and make her Asian. Let's just lean on the
Yeah.
Asian.
Well, she kind of have the eyes already
She does.
for it. So
Yep.
Right.
if you want to,
So
maybe we
she's
could
got
give.
black hair, right? So
Yeah.
she's the only other one with black hair. So
Right.
what far we've got a white hair, an afro,
So
two
sorry, which one is the one with the white hair?
mischief.
Mischief is white
Mischief.
hair. Okay.
Yep. And
Okay.
ribbons is blonde.
Ribbons is blonde.
Okay. So let's see.
I'm trying to find, Lou, do you have that thing I sent Chris? I don't have it up, and I'm afraid if I get
Hold
it
on,
up,
just
I'm
sec.
gonna lose you.
Just a sec.
Chris, you have that email I sent you. It had 9 names. And it
Hold
had,
on. Hold
okay.
on. Let me go in there.
But these look like kids. And what I'm liking here, Chris, is that we're eliminating the elves that you drew that look like little men. And now if we can start to fix the eyes, like on Squiggles and Cinnamon, they have those same bulging eyes. We need to do something different with her eyes.
Where it's spelling, but it's just
She's blonde.
make sure she has a more yellowish tint to it. So I'll go ahead and
Yeah,
repaint.
yeah, you did
I just
that.
want the hints so that I'll know
And
which one.
she'd have blue eyes, and she'd probably have
Yeah.
lighter skin. Um, so if you think about a little Swedish doll, um, and
So lighter
maybe
than this
Squiggles
time.
has blue eyes. You could put another couple blue-eyed elves in there, or green eyes, which would make them from different backgrounds and cultures and different elf parents.
Sure.
I think that would help. Like Mischief has got that bright white hair, so he might have blue eyes.
This guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Mischief, right?
Mischief. I
Okay.
mean, he might have
Okay.
could have black eyes but what we're after. We're just after because you're getting different elves now. You got
Hmm.
an Asian elf, you got so you can kill that little Asian elf out of the fatso shot. You can get rid of her because we're not going to do her twice.
Oh
You
yeah,
see?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah.
This was because of the cat out.
Okay.
I'll clean
So
that
now
up. So
Fatso, in my view, would
yeah.
have freckles. He would have very light skin. He'd have freckles and red hair, and probably, you know, maybe his eyes would be closer together or farther apart. So he'd look, again, his face maybe would be a little bit different. Um, um,
Okay.
and
Okay.
fat little tunic. If you can make him fatter and shorten the tunic and bring his stockings up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you want to see the stockings all the way up to the belt,
Then his
uh
belly button. Then his belly button. No belt.
then you will see the belly button here, and
And then you see his
then the
tunic.
belt, and then you see the rest of the tunic.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he doesn't even fit the belt. Maybe the belt is not even, it's
Or maybe
cute.
have the belt go upwards in the belly.
Yeah, cuter. And his little belly button shows. Cuter.
Yeah,
Stocking belt.
and we have a very short little
Yeah, little
uh
tiny peek at
yeah,
his
a
tummy.
little peek of the rest of the gown under the belt, and then we see the belly with the belly button.
And I
Okay.
think he's happy. He's just happy. Um,
Oh, you
or he
say you
looks
want
like he
to
just ate. He just finished eating. So his tongue would be out and he would have red, funny hair, maybe all different kinds of hair. And his cap would be maybe farther back. So, you know how little if the fat kid, look, everything is like balanced. He's kind of moving forward and everything is tailing him because so he just has to look fat. He just has to look like he's eating too many chocolate chip cookies.
So I'll make sure that it accentuate the cheeks so
Yeah,
it looks
yeah.
chubbier. Yeah.
And
Okay.
his skin is a little bit lighter. So you've got a light-skinned Swedish elf named Ribbons.
Well,
You've got a
okay.
light-skinned,
I thought this one was also light skin.
yes, that's light skin. That's Ribbons.
What about this one?
Which one are you putting?
Mischief, sorry.
Mischief.
Mischief could have lighter skin and blue
So
eyes.
we
Or
already have 1, 2, 3, 4 with light skin.
light skin. And we have a black one. We have an Asian one. And then we have a couple of regular American elves.
Okay, so which would be which ones
So
here?
we don't. So now okay, I'm looking at the one with the little rainbow eyes. So
This
what do
guy?
you have? So Lou, did you find that document?
Yeah, I do. I do have it right now. So
What do you have?
think of their names, give them personalities. Okay. There is Squiggles. There
Yeah.
is Gumdrop. Gumdrop.
Gumdrop is the candy maker. So Gumdrop is a candy maker.
This one kind of looks Hispanic to me. You know, maybe we lighten the skin if you want to have a Hispanic version here.
Do we need a
Yeah.
little Mexican elf? We could do a little Mexican elf,
Yeah, a little Latino. Yeah.
a little Latino girl. So what would her hair be like? Probably a ponytail.
So
You're
like
right.
yeah, like she has
Probably
the
pulled up.
ponytails.
She has pigtails.
But remember, Marilyn, with the hat,
Yeah, with the hat.
if it's a ponytail, you're not really gonna see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
She looks kind of like a 12-year-old. She looks kind of, I'm trying to look at little tiny kids that are Mexican children. That like the little black girl is cute. But the little Mexican girl isn't as
Are you sure it's not because she's taller than this guy that you're thinking it's this?
Right.
So let me just cut her out here
You see
from
if we're
this.
looking at for a Mexican little girl, little cute little Mexican girl.
I would, you know what, Marilyn? She
Yeah.
could have just long hair without any ponytails or
Yeah,
anything
just
like
long
that.
brown hair. Just long brown hair.
Long brown hair because when she's wearing the hat, the long brown hair would go down her back, which we wouldn't
Right.
see much,
And
but
maybe
it's
her
okay.
hat is sitting here. So, so then you see the long brown hair, just trailing down.
So, and so when looking at let's not give her
She's
a
not
name
as
right
cute.
away.
She's not as cute, Chris, as she should be. She got a little bulbous nose and she looks older. She kind of,
Okay, then let's take it out. Something else.
but I think a little Mexican elf girl is a good idea.
How about this
Oh,
one for that?
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, she's better. If you change her eyes again and so she doesn't have those same bulbous eyes. But yeah, she's
If
cute. She's got a little ponytail.
Marilyn, if she had the eyes of I'm gonna call him Asian, the Asian person that's right under her, if she had those eyes,
Yeah. And maybe she has, little eyelashes, or maybe she has, Yeah, I think the eyes are important, that they all have their own faces. Their noses are different. One of them is turned up, one of them is round and bulbous, one of them is a little wider.
So hold on just a sec, Marilyn, just a sec.
Yeah.
So
1, 2,
right
3,
now
4.
we've got Squiggle, Ribbon, Cinnamon, Mischief.
And we need a new name for Fatso. What else do you have on that list?
So we've got Squiggles, Gumdrop, Ribbons, Mischief, Drumstick, Jingles, Skates, and Cinnamon.
Right. So those names, and you've got this email, right, Chris? Have you got that email that?
Yeah, I'm sure it's buried somewhere, but yeah.
I'll resend it.
resend it. So you've got choices here. So this is good. You've got Jingles, who is Jingle Bells. Jingle bells everywhere. Jingle bells on the hat, jingle bells on the thing, jingle bells on the belt. You know, I'm in charge of testing the jingle bells at the North Pole. You've got Drumsticks, which is a little boy who plays all the music. He's got a horn, he's got a drum. So that could be the little fat kid. He could be in charge of the music, or he could be in charge, or he could be Gumdrop, and he could have candy canes on his belt because he's eating too much sugar. So maybe Fatso becomes Gumdrop and he's the candy guy and he
Yep.
tests the candy. And maybe the little Mexican girl is Jingles. She's in charge of all the jingle bells. And then if we do another one, then I would suggest we do like a little Elvis Presley hip elf that's skates, that's on roller skates. So he's when he's lying in the workshop, he's always got skates on. And it's just fun because kids like rollerblades. So
Jingles?
so Jingles, Gumdrop, skates would be the other little elf, or drumsticks. So if they've all got little, that's cute, Lou. So we're missing one elf.
So,
And
and
so
just sorry, just sec, Marilyn, just
yep,
sec,
yep,
because I want
yep.
to make sure that Chris has all of the information too. So Jingles, Chris will need to have her just a bit lighter skin, to go more with the brown
Yes, yes, yeah. So
people. Okay.
I was putting the eyes because you
Yeah, I
said you
know. I
wanted
get it.
different
I
eyes.
But
just
see
So
her eyes, yeah, the eyes are cuter. She's much cuter like that.
okay.
She looks more real.
Mhm.
So, and I think Squiggles could have the bulbous eyes, but then we got to do something with Cinnamon and Gumdrop. So they don't look like the same eyes that Squiggles has. So Gumdrop, maybe he's got little, you know, squished up eyes because his cheeks are too fat and his eyes are buried in there
okay,
because he's
I'll come
eating
up with
so
a
much
few
sugar.
variations, and then you can let me know which
Yeah,
one you
but
like better.
you were
Okay,
getting
Okay.
closer right here, Chris.
okay.
So
And then
one,
Cinnamon,
two, three, four, five, six, seven.
we have
Okay.
seven. We have Jingles, Mischief, Cinnamon, Ribbons, Squiggles, Bows, and
So
Gum.
so Marilyn, the if we
We
go
don't
back
have,
to the group, if we go back to the group of whichever one, yeah, okay. So right now, the two missing are skates and the musical elf, drumstick.
drumsticks.
Okay,
So
so when looking at this, when looking at these guys, who's skates?
I don't see skates in there.
If you go,
Um,
I think if you go to the third page, the other page, Chris, I think I would see skates as the taller. You've got one, I think, without a hat. You have
This
one
one?
without, oh, yeah, okay, was that, or you have another page than this?
No, I mean we have
Okay,
the.
one, okay. And if you go to the next page after that,
Uh,
okay, no,
sorry.
no,
You
no,
know
that's
what?
okay.
Let me just first of all, let me save this.
Yeah, good idea.
Else multi
we don't have a skinny athletic elf.
with.
Right,
Yeah,
Lou, we
that's
don't
it.
have a,
That's what I'm
that's
thinking.
what you were looking for is maybe a handsome kind of, I call him Elvis Presley. He's got the swoopy hair.
So
Maybe he's
It
got
could be
long.
him, but I'm also looking, there was a taller black elf. And do you have another page than these two?
okay,
I thought there was
let
a
me
third
see.
page.
Hold on a second. Else. Oh, this is the old one. So okay, let me reload this one. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, a bit taller, Marilyn. This guy with skates.
Yeah, if he were, so do you want to do two black? Well, then
Yeah,
he needs dreads. So he doesn't, we can't do two afros. So do we do dreadlocks on him? Little tiny dreadlocks that hang down and he's got,
you know what they are, Chris?
you know what dreadlocks are?
You know the braids that go
Oh
like
yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, I think I know. Yeah, okay.
Black kids wear them and black elementary school kids wear them, but they're individual dreadlocks and they hang down and behind, they're down to here.
Okay.
and they're all around, and and their bangs.
Sure.
But he's
Okay.
definitely black. He's Afro-American,
Yeah,
Okay.
and
and
that's okay. We could have a black boy and a black girl, and I'm fine with it.
absolutely,
In
absolutely,
Nine Elves,
and that guy, the skates, Marilyn, just for again for ease of animation, the
yeah,
skates are hanging from his belt.
yeah, they could hang unless they can be on his feet. They can't be on his feet, and he can use them just like regular feet.
Yeah, yeah, I can put him on the feet, no problem.
Okay, okay, whatever is conducive, Chris, to make the animation flow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for sure, if you can put it on the feet, absolutely.
I
And
think
Marilyn,
Skate might have a thinner face, Chris, because he works out all the time. He plays baseball and football, and he skates, and
Sure, so yeah, okay.
he's
So
an
you
athlete.
know,
Chimney,
Just
he's an
say skates
athlete,
is an
so
athlete, and he's
yeah,
got dreadlocks,
got
and
it.
he's just
Sure.
hip. He's just a hip guy. And then we got the music guy. So we
and
got the
hold on just a
music.
sec, Marilyn, just a
Yeah,
sec, just a sec.
yeah,
Chris, so the name of this guy is Skates.
Yeah.
skates.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now there's two names left, Lou. You pick. Drumsticks is one, and Toodles is the other one. Toots, horns, making music with horns. So he's either got trumpet and a little kazoo on his belt,
Okay.
or we do him drumsticks and he has drums. Now, if he's drum, I'm thinking ahead to the song that drumsticks could be in the corner, just playing his drums in the corner as the lyrics are scrolling by, just playing, you know. And Toodles could be there too if we had 10 L's, but we don't need 10 L's.
No, 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 we don't. No, 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 we're not
So
going
nine
10.
elves is enough. We could,
We want less, no more.
Yeah,
yeah, we want
exactly.
less.
I'm not gonna have time to animate all
So the
those
No.
question
things.
is, do we need nine? I mean, or can we get away with seven? Um, what I can't remember why I wrote nine, Lou. Is there a rhyme somewhere that's nine little elves?
I
Or
mean,
maybe it
in
was
the
just
rhyme, they're talking about how they're making the book, right? Cutting the stencils, going stuff, and
yeah. But in order to not, even if they
because all
pencil,
of this, I mean, I understand you want their all characteristics and
right,
stuff, but once we go through the animation, kids are, I don't think they're going to be able to catch all of the stuff that's happening
right. And
per
I think, Chris,
individual.
yes, and I think once you do these, and I hate to do this, there will be a process of elimination. We'll look at these nine elves once you spend a day on these nine elves and say, okay, I'm going to finish them. Here's the skin color, here's the freckles, here's the hair. I've got them shaped the way I think that they want to see them. Then we go back through this one more time and we say, that little elf doesn't work. Don't mess with him. Cut him. We'll do it with eight. And in the meanwhile, let me go back and look at the script and imagine, because in that rhyme, in that workshop, nine
Hmm.
may be too many.
Hmm.
Seven might be better. He
Okay.
glued and he stenciled. He papered and penciled. He's something and something. He's something and something. He did a da 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 da. I think there are eight couplets, frankly. So we may get away with eight little elves. But I think if you're up for it, Chris, and we can get drumsticks in here, um, and he's a musical little elf. Um,
So Mischief is what does he do again?
if he's a reindeer,
Oh, right, right, right.
He's
but
got
mischief
he's
So
could,
so maybe they can have a dual
yeah,
functionality.
he
So
could
maybe
be he
he
could be a
forget the
drummer.
reindeer. Forget the reindeer. Maybe he doesn't have antlers out of his. Why does he forget the reindeer elf? Let's make him Toodles. Give him horns. Give him a little trumpet. Call him Toodles. Forget
okay.
mischief.
So
So
What
how
do
do you
you
spell
think,
that?
Lou? Do you like the little reindeer antler
the thing
guy?
is, here's what I'm thinking. Toodles. So how do you spell Toodles, Marilyn? Because he wasn't part of your email.
Tootles.
Okay,
Yep.
so that's Toodles. I think that
Yeah.
Toodles can have on one side two drumsticks, and on the other side just one antler. Like just a thing.
Well, he
But
needs to have one thing. He's either the reindeer guy, so he needs to have antlers, and we can go back to mischief. But Toodles, an elf who picks the name Toodles would have horns. He would have a little baby trumpet,
Okay.
or he'd have a little kazoo,
Okay.
or he'd have a little trombone.
So make it a trumpet, and we're gonna take out the reindeer stuff.
Okay, so Toodles has got a horn. So reindeer is out. Toodles is going to have a little trumpet
A little
horn
trumpet.
in his belt. Little horn in
Yeah.
his belt. Okay,
Okay.
he's got, and these guys can all have one little prop, like
Mhm.
Yep.
like Squiggles has got nails and a hammer, which is cute. Bows can have bows and maybe a little, thing of bows or bag of bows. Ribbons is
Mhm.
all ribbony.
Mhm.
Ribbons in her hair, ribbons everywhere. Cinnamon has got the whisk and the little baking spoon or the rolling pin. Skates has
Yeah,
got
I would stay away from the whisk because that means lines, and in 2D, when you start moving, they kind of like disappear
great,
and then reappear.
great.
So
So
the
you get a
rolling pin
How
is
about a
better.
rolling pin would be a lot
rolling
better.
pin
So
and a
yeah,
spoon, big old
yeah,
spoon would
yeah,
be great.
yeah,
Jingles has got bells on her wrists,
yeah,
maybe, that
yeah, sure.
move
Yeah, we
with
can
her and
have.
on her hat and on her feet and on her belt. So it's jingle bells.
Then we
Toodles has
have
got a little trumpet, and then we've got drumsticks up here. And I think
uh-huh.
of Toodles and drumsticks. So imagine that you've got two little elves in the corners when that song is going by. It's not all the elves, Chris, because we talked about this, but thinking ahead on that
Mhm.
last 30 seconds when we're singing the song, if Toodles was playing his little horn
Sure.
in the corner and drumsticks was drumming, that's a band. Now we have an
Well, the
elf band.
thing is, hold on,
Well,
Marilyn.
Yeah,
well,
Toodles is the musician guy.
he's the
We
horn
don't,
player. We don't
yeah,
need we don't need two musicians, right?
we don't need two musicians. So right now we're sticking to that.
Okay, so Toodles is, so we're not going to do drumsticks. So we can do one other elf, or we can be done.
I think here's what I can suggest for
Yeah,
Toodles. If he has a trumpet, because musicians are multi-layered.
sure. A trumpet
Okay,
and drumsticks?
a trumpet and and drumsticks in his belt. That's
Then
it. That solves it.
that's it. That's great, Lou, because then we're really looking ahead, Chris, and saying this is the elf with that little funny white hair who we're going to stick in the corner when those lyrics are going by. He's going to play along. He's going to bang his drum. He may even grab a little violin that he doesn't carry with him, but he happens to play it. He'll be the one man little band, the one man elf band
mhm.
that can play
He's
along.
he's the he's the musician Chris version of life.
Yes, he's the
He's the
musician,
one-man band.
elf musician, Toodles.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay, just Marilyn, I want to manage expectations, okay?
Yes.
I just want to manage expectations because that's a whole lot of work and it's okay.
Mhm.
But I want to manage expectations on the color side of the house, okay? So Chris, I'm going to ask you
Mhm.
to be strategic about switching out colors. Like let's say if all of them stay, we're going to call them the Elf Army Green, okay?
Mhm.
Squiggle, white, and red, okay? So choose if the pale green becomes the white and if the green becomes red. I'm not going to ask you to do it now, but I'm just telling you, okay? Be strategic in lessening the work of changing the colors. So whenever you see the different elves, you can mismatch the different things in a way that it is that it flows for you to make those changes. Okay? So meaning I know that there will be limitations. I know that there will be limitations to the colors to add in. That I know because it's just taking more time. Or you tell me differently. I don't know.
I mean, changing the color of the uniform, it's as simple as doing a bucket thing,
Okay. Okay.
But again, what I'm concerned is about once we start changing the colors of all these guys, it might be a little too busy. But you want something that keeps cohesion between them as
Yep.
a team, right?
Yep.
I mean, but if everything looks way too different in colors and stuff, I don't know. We can try a version to see and then
Yeah.
you'll be able to see what I mean. Perhaps I'm not explaining myself well. So
No, no,
uh
you're doing okay. I just want to manage expectations so that
s-
um so that as we
okay,
progress that we don't make you go back to work on stuff
gotcha,
that we
gotcha.
think we have,
Yeah,
okay?
I agree, Lou. I mean,
So
so let me understand this, Chris. So I think what I heard
changing
was,
colors like that is easy.
yeah, if the
Changing
hair
the
is,
structure of the uniforms is
yes,
hard.
that's what I'm guessing. That's what I'm hearing. So if the hair is out of the way of the arms, if there's not too many things that you have to animate when they're moving that are out of their pockets. I mean, I think those things, I'm with Lou on all that. Simplify that, Chris, to what you need. If I was looking at ribbons and she had a white collar instead of a brown collar, and she had little white cuffs, and her little stockings were yellow and white striped, but we don't see them, so we don't have to do them. But if that, then she's done. If she had yellow hair and because she has a tunic, then if Squiggles was red and his stockings were red and white striped, and Cinnamon was, uh, maybe she's light green or maybe she's pink, she's in the kitchen, so maybe, and Toodles is white and black or white and brown. I think just to play with it for a minute to make them fun because they're or we make them all the same. But I think the little gumdrop could be purple and purple and white. I think skates could be green and white. I think jingles could be, I mean, just go through the rainbow. Hot pink, somebody green, red, but you don't have to do it now, Chris, but give it a whirl when you get the elves done. Skates is skates. He's got skates on his feet. The little fatso elf, gumdrop. Yeah. He's got candy canes on his hat that are maybe purple and white striped. That's what he has. So when he stands alone and when we look at him, and he's got, if all their little stockings were their color and white striped, so they got dressed in the morning with their own stockings. But the little ribbons, doesn't have any stockings, neither does Cinnamon, and neither will Bose. Jingles is
Uh
taller.
I mean, again, you like this?
Well, I don't really like that color on a boy elf. So maybe it's
Okay.
bright blue. Maybe it's the blue that's down below this screen on version 2.6.2. Well, I don't like it with the green stocking. You have to get the green out. His hat has to be.
Oh, so we're switching that as well. Oh, so whole
Well, see, the
uniforms.
purple and the green don't work together.
Yeah, no, they
So
don't.
No elf would ever
so
dress up like that.
so that's why, Chris, I want to manage expectations as far as colors are concerned.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
they all stay in green.
So you I'm looking to you to tell us what is feasible. That's all I'm gonna leave it there for now, because and I know we're, from a time perspective, we need to make decisions, and
Mhm.
we just need to know what the limitations are. That's it.
Okay, so what
That's
I
all I'm
suggest
saying.
is please send me the recording of all these notes and
Yep.
or the notes if you already wrote them down. Just send me all that for each character. I'll do all the changes and we'll concentrate on color schemes afterwards. First, we'll concentrate about the shapes and their function and their little tools hanging from the belts.
Yep.
And then once we have that nailed down, then we can talk about what we can do with the color scheme, the
Perfect.
color palettes of each
Absolutely the right
element.
order. And Lou,
Yep.
I absolutely agree. If we can get the eyes and the noses and the hair, and the personalities and the little tools
Yep.
differentiated between these little eight guys, then we'll look, Chris. So don't even mess with the color. Get that right. Let's do a quick review as soon as you're ready,
Yeah,
and then we'll decide. We're going to keep them all green. But to answer your question, no, purple does not go with green. A
yeah,
purple elf is a
Yeah.
purple elf. He's got a purple hat. He's got white. He's got purple and white striped socks. He's purple. And this guy is red and white. And this guy is green and white. And that guy is yellow and
Yeah.
white. And so they're a rainbow. They look like a gumball machine. The elves are
Okay.
so brightly colored and all different. So when you pop them in the workshop, we know that they're not all little green elves. Now, the little green elves are cute. So let's get exactly the right order. Just what you said, Chris. Do that in
Hmm.
the order.
And
Yeah.
Chris, just from a clarity standpoint, let's send just like you did for the main characters,
Hmm.
send them one at a time.
Okay.
Like one sheet at a time. I mean, you
Yeah.
can send different sheets, but one elf on one sheet,
Yeah.
just so that we can, give the okay on this and
Gotcha. Well,
you know,
they will each have their own little names, so it'd be easy. It's gonna be easy now to say, Gumdrop needs, red shoes, whatever, or less
Right.
freckles,
yep,
whatever. So
yep,
now that I know the names of each one that we're gonna be
yep,
dealing with, it will make it easier, to differentiate which notes belong
yeah.
to who. So
And the thing is, I have to say, uh, Chris, all the work that you've done, without it, we couldn't have gone to this now. This is awesome, 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 awesome work.
cool. Thank
So
you.
we're thrilled.
All
This
right.
is fun. I mean, I have to say, I'm thinking when I was looking at the images you were sending, I'm going, oh shit, we need to start setting up an online merch store to to
Well, it's
to
an elf
sell
outfit.
sweaters
Yeah,
and
squiggles.
to
I want to be squiggles this Halloween. I'm going to be squiggles. Yeah, I mean, you're creating, that's why I'm pushing so hard,
Oh
Chris. You're
no.
creating little personalities.
One thing though is this is a very common style. So even though they're unique because of the different outfits and things, the overall feel for it is a very common style. Just want to let you know
yeah,
that
yeah, we're
you know
yep,
Yeah,
we
you're not
okay.
we got it.
reinventing elves. Oh, no.
Exactly. So but yeah, okay, cool. So I will go ahead and if the sooner as soon as we're done with this conversations, please resend the recording.
Yep.
And unless Zoom can actually do the whole can transcribe it, so it makes it easier for me to track it down,
I'll
so
I'll I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do.
but if not, just send me the recording so I can go through Marilyn's notes, because I was doing changes while she was
Yeah,
talking, and
of
I'm
course,
sure I
of
missed stuff.
course,
So I
of
want to make
course.
sure I got all the stuff that she wants per character as much as I can do for the time, right?
You
So
got
They're
how
it.
going to
much
be
time
so
do you want
darn
me to
cute.
spend on
Look
these
at them.
guys?
Look at
So
them. How cute they are.
so
They're just starting to be cute. They're all like 4 to 6 years old. They're just ageless. I like Jingles. She's a little skinnier. She's cute. Skates looks like a hip kid. Bose
okay.
is, who knows what he's doing. And Toodle with the horn and Cinnamon with the is
Okay,
baked.
so we got one, two. So you want Bo to be a male then?
I think Bose is cuter as a little boy.
Okay, all right. So no long hair. We'll just keep it as is then. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we have three girls and 5 boys.
And five
Yep.
boys right now. 3 girls and 5 boys, 8 elves.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to stick to. I don't know why I got 9, probably in the rhymes, but it doesn't matter because we're going to animate this. I think 8 is fine. And if we come into one and Lou, you and Chris and I all agree that that one is not really, we're not falling in love with it, cut them and we'll do it with 7. But let's try for these 8, Chris. Try for these
Okay.
8. And then we'll look at them quickly. We'll get right
Mhm.
back to you.
Okay.
And Lou,
Sounds
I
good.
have a 1 o'clock meeting and it will last till 2:30 and then I'm going to call you.
Yeah, perfect. That's what I was about to tell you because I'll take
Okay.
the time right now to run things up and to share with Chris so that we can forge ahead.
And
Great.
then at 2:30, Lou, we're gonna solve all the Steve documents and all the
Yep,
rest of this that you
you
need.
got
Okay,
it.
great.
Before you go, when you do the recordings for the voices, can you actually record their faces too when they're doing those voices?
Sure.
Yeah, we can.
Because
Absolutely. Lou,
that
can
will
you
definitely
figure that
help.
way out how to
Yeah,
do?
I'm gonna I'll have my iPad with me along with a pod, and yeah, absolutely.
Well, and then the script, Chris, will reflect that. We will
Yeah.
actually assign Gumdrop will say, read the
Yeah.
book, Santa. You'll know what to
Mhm.
do. I mean, we'll know that little voice, and I'll know that he's a little fat redheaded kid that eats too much sugar.
Right.
So I'll know that, and that will help me in the recording session as well. And Cinnamon will be a girl, so she'll speak differently. Little
Mhm.
black girl, so she may have a little sass to her. So anyway,
Mhm.
we'll do that. I think that will help. That will define these characters and these little elves. Be great.
Yep. Sounds
Yep.
good.
Okay.
Awesome.
All righty. More
Nice.
to come.
Fantastic.
Let
All
me
right.
figure that out and
Great.
I'll
I'll call
send
you
it to
back.
us
Thank
all.
you, Chris.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chris.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.